Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of Going Live with Global Learning. My name's Elizabeth O'Brien, and I'm the International Program Coordinator here at Kirkwood. My role oversees our students who come on the U.S. Department of State-sponsored Community College Initiative Program, or CCI, which provides participants a one-year non-degree program to engage in cultural exchange, enhance their leadership capabilities, improve their English proficiency, and volunteer and intern. New this year is something called the Community Impact Project, and we are welcomed to have Mpho Sekati with us to talk a little bit about his Community Impact Project. So Mpho, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Mpho Sekati from South Africa. I'm a farmer by trade. I'm not like a trained farmer, but I'm a self-taught farmer. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm from South Africa. I'm from a small township east of Johannesburg called Tembisa, which is one of the cities that made Joburg what it is, the so-called capital city of South Africa. Yeah, I grew up there most of the time, but I moved around the country from Lesotho. Then we moved to Mpumalanga for a while. Then we moved outside the border to Swatini. Then we settled to Tembisa. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you've kind of been all over within South Africa.
Yeah.
Very neat.
That's a typical life of a South African, I guess.
Okay.
Especially if you're gonna move from, if you're gonna move from the rural to the urban, so urban areas are very limited in South Africa. So we are trying to find ourselves. It's not like the USA, everything is set. California, Chicago is always a city that is there, it's already developed. I feel like African countries are still finding that touch of urban and rural, trying to mix together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you're a self-taught farmer. How did you get involved in the field of agriculture?
Yeah, it's one funny story. Okay. Yeah. When I was growing up, I wanted to be an animator, a graphic designer in the mix. But somehow I found myself in the agricultural space. Because, yeah, I think when you're growing up in, let me put it in the context of Africa, if you want to do something creative, it's not deemed or seen as a job that can bring in income. Especially if you're going to tell your parents that, yeah, I want to make cartoons for a living. Like, you mean those things that you watch every time you lazing around my house, eating my free food? Like, okay, you cannot do that. So after high school, I didn't have, because I was sponsoring myself, I went for the graphic designing for some years, but it was too expensive. Like, creative arts are very complex and very expensive. So funny enough, I started volunteering. That's the first step of where it all started. Found an organization that was looking for an environmental developer, because many people didn't know what's that. I was like, okay, I'm open to the position. They're like, do you have a certificate? I'm like, no, I can read, but they're like, okay, you can read. Let's see what you can do. So in that organization, I started coming up with program. How do we conserve the environment? The issue that we must partner with, especially city stakeholders, because funny enough, there are stakeholders in the government that are doing this, but they need ideas and people who are driven to bring in those ideas and implement them. So I was that guy, because while I was trying to pay for this graphic design, I was also a waiter, blessing in disguise. I learned people skills, how to talk to people. Like, okay, this is like, once I was starting to talk to people, okay, this is like a skill that I gain, not knowing that I'm gaining a new skill. So that helped me a lot. So that's how I became a farmer, then moved into spaces. People were like, oh, you seem a little confident than most people. Why don't you do such and such program? We have opening such and such program. So the volunteering opened up many opportunities for me to
Yeah.
get into. I started seeing myself going to other countries like Madagascar. I didn't think I would go there.
Oh, wow.
Cape Town, with different entities. I didn't think that I'll be there. Sometimes I just sit and like, what if you became a graphic designer? So you could have been in a 9 to 5 right now. So yeah, it's a little bit funny story. Yeah. Every time I think about it, and I tell people the story. Most people are like, you're trying to be motivational. I'm like, no, this is like, it happened.
It actually
Yeah,
happened.
it actually happened because even the time when I came, I told people I'm going to the US. They were like, yeah, we know that you want to go to the US. Not surprised to us. I'm like, really? Like, yeah, you like the guy who's doing the things. I'm like, okay. Surprised myself there.
You're making it happen. You're making it
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, it's quite funny.
Yeah. Well, on the CCI program, you get to complete what's called a community impact project.
Yeah.
So could you tell us more about your idea, how you came up with the idea? And then I guess it seems that it relates also to agriculture. So
Yeah. When I came to the US, we have this expectation of the US, like everything is perfect, it's there, it's polished. Nobody needs anything, like especially like food. Food is like here is abundant. There's many food, so we don't think that people are starving or people are facing health issues. So with my community impact program, I looked around and yeah, there are farmers there, but there are seeds also that are specific to something, but people cannot have access to seeds that they need, like starting a garden. I was surprised that most people cannot even start a garden. I'm like, that's like common knowledge in South Africa. Like starting a garden, like everybody has a garden, everybody knows different seeds, everybody have variety of crops that they are eating. But here, most of the people just know corn. Like, yeah, it's corn. Other than that, so it sparked an idea within me. Like, okay, because my idea started like as a big vision.
okay.
Yeah, so it started breaking itself down. Funny with the creative thinking ideas that I'd learned also when I was taking the graphic design, how to make a storyboard. So it started breaking itself down into this ideal thing. I started wanted to start a seed bank. So a seed bank was a great idea. Everybody that I pitched, like, yeah, that's a great idea. But now it started to show the cracks of, oh, okay, how you gonna maintain this? Who's gonna do it after?
Yeah.
Other issues of the seeds, the seed storage, because you need a refrigeration to store those seeds, and who's gonna take care of the data, or how you gonna distribute it. So it needed a lot of financial aspect of it. It was very complicated. So it broke itself down. It's like, okay, what if I didn't do this? What if people started swapping seed? People who are hobbyists, like, oh, started working out, started meeting people who are like enthusiastic about farming. Like, yeah, we want to plant different things. I met a classmate of mine who's into this thing called guerrilla farming. So guerrilla farming basically is like they go out and plant in open spaces that are not utilized or they feel that they can use to attract like bees, beneficial insects, especially in cities. One of the goes to two college. He goes to Kirkwood and Core College, and Core College is so like a big on conservation of water, this landscaping style that they're introducing. So that's where I met most of the people. They showed me new things that I didn't know also. So I started gaining that knowledge of, oh, how do we distribute it? How, because they have this concept of making things cool, and most of the idea die out with young people because it's not cool to them. Yeah, if something's not cool to young people, just forget about it. Yeah, so that's how it started the impact. So we managed to pull out the idea, and people came and traded their seeds, and it was amazing how many people collect seeds and they want to trade. So like a cosplay for seeds, yeah.
Wow. So it really kind of started from one idea and changed trajectories so much.
Yeah.
You were telling me that as you were coming up with this idea and trying to figure out how to implement it, you started out with a pilot.
Yeah.
How did the pilot program turn out?
Yeah, I like making pilot for things because I know everything fails. So, because when you have a big idea, you must try and mimic it and see how it works. So the pilot was sort of like, at first I wanted to, like I said, the idea was big. At first I wanted to start an app, like, oh, let's start this app and see how people how we're gonna trade these seeds. The app thing was like, okay, you are one man, because I also taught myself how to code. So coding also is very difficult if you are alone, not bouncing ideas with other people. So like, okay, this is gonna take me. It's gonna take a lot of my time. So what can I do? So funny enough, I was using Google questionnaire. So like Google questionnaire, and you can have data and put in and develop it. So the pilot project was based on that, developing a QR code with the pamphlet so that people who are taking the seeds can scan it, and we can know the number of people who are interested. Each and every region that we're gonna place that pamphlet or those seeds, we can tell, oh, people here like okra, or people here are into spinach. So that was the idea behind it. So the pilot project uh, was at the horticulture building.
Okay.
Yeah, so we asked for permission to post it. So yeah, it's been it showed me something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it taught me an idea. Not everybody is honest. So yeah, you can take more seeds, but do not leave any seeds. So the idea of it was take seed and leave seed.
Okay.
Then you must say what type of seed you left,
Yeah.
so that we know what is there.
And that
Yeah.
didn't quite work
It,
out.
it didn't quite work out as I thought, because my idea came from the petrol station here. Because when I came here, I was surprised when somebody would go into a come and go and just grab a cup and they pour some juice and they go and pay. Because in my country, you pick, then you pay. Then you don't do it yourself. Somebody must overwatch you and watch you. Like, hey, you're taking too much. So this is too much. Yeah. So here people can like, okay, go to the store and pour it for themselves. Whatever they do, they have that freedom. So I was thinking of that. Oh, people here love the freedom. So let's try and incorporate it with the seed exchange thing. Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of stemmed into one thing. And so then as you learned that that pilot wasn't going to work that well, you migrated into the seed swap.
Yeah.
And you did this event with Feed Iowa at Mpho City
Yeah.
Market a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So I was talking to many cooperative like NGOs here who were dealing with gardening. Most of them, they had the idea of, okay, let's seed swap. Let's see if we can seed swap. They had an idea, but they didn't know how we can pursue it, or they didn't have somebody who was pushing it. And like, guys, let's meet up and see what we can do, because there are many organizations who are doing the same thing, but you find they are working as silos, as different entities, but they're trying to achieve the same goal. So I met up with them. We had a meeting, and they connected me with somebody in Newbo. We were talking like, yeah, we're gonna have one. How about we have one each and every Sunday, fourth Sunday of the month? So they're gonna have seed swapping what event each and every fourth Sunday. So it's sort of like a thing that is there at Newbo. So yeah, it was scary, because when I started, on the day on the day of the event, I was like, okay, there's nobody coming here, because the space was open. Like, yeah, you can use this space. This is the space, and I was waiting there alone. Like, oh, okay,
Oh no.
oh no, this. But people came. Funny enough, people came and they exchanged seats and they exchanged conversations. It was nice to see, even though it's not a large crowd. I know things start from a small crowd, but it's nice to see when you see people with common ideas, you in a different country trying to teach other people on how to conserve or how to create their own food. Yeah, it's very amazing when such thing happen, because we put time and energy in these things, and we invest emotions. I think that's the most
Yeah,
that's the
the
most of
emotion.
it. Like we invest emotions. Yeah, it's like a child. You want to see your child succeed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's something that, you were able to pivot from your original idea and with that intent of making it succeed.
Yeah.
So next steps, what are the next steps to further this?
Oh, the next stop. I'm thinking of making it bigger than this because I know. I was talking with Feed Iowa. They're working with the greenhouse. They're growing some seeds there, so they're looking for some idea how to start the gardens, how to make it more appealing to young people, especially
Oh,
because. Uh, Cause I was thinking of an event of hosting a party at the farm. We have this pumpkin picking thing, but so like most of it is like parents forcing kids. Let's go pumpkin. It's like it's our tradition. We should do it each and every year. But you're just going there just to please the parents. So how do you make this thing trendy? How do you make it people to uh, appealing to young people? So I think that's one of the things that we're trying to push. Maybe the target of the number of people will go up. We are targeting maybe 50 people to come.
okay.
Yeah, we'll see how it ends because now it's spring. Because one of the things that I saw, the cold in Iowa is like a damp.
It's the main
Yeah, like a
crowd.
damp.
Yeah.
Like people wants to do this thing and go out, but you find if it's cold, no, the numbers are not gonna match up with you.
Yeah. The weather definitely impacts things in Iowa.
Yeah.
So for those the viewers or anyone who wants to participate in the seed swap at Mpho on the fourth Sunday of every month, what seeds can they expect to find?
There's a variety of many seeds. Because when I was also surprised with the number of seeds that were there. I seen sorghum, different sorghum, because I'm familiar with sorghum. Uh, some okra. I know people don't know okra here because we were talking with one of my friends. Like, do you eat okra? Like, what's that? Like, yeah, I'll bring some. And I brought some. Like, it looked like a green banana. Like, no, it's not banana. It's okra. So how do you cook it? I like, oh, you cook it like this. Like, oh, when you cook it, it's like, a mucus type of thing. Like, oh man, it looks like mucus. What's this? Like, oh, it has its own taste. So how do you market this thing? Where do you sell it? I'm like, oh, so it's sparking some interest on how it's produced, where it's produced, the type of environment. So yeah, if you're going there, you're gonna find a lot of different seeds. Cause I was surprised there was also somebody who was collecting apple seeds. And he was telling me the seeds were like old. Some of them were like 200 years. I'm like,
Wow.
oh, okay. That's nice. It's a good hobby to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, conserving those seeds because we have discussions in my class because I love the teachers that I have because we have discussion about where's the food security heading, and at one point we're gonna need the first generation of the seed that we had, and not most people have those seeds, and it's a shame that not most people know the seeds. How do they keep them? How is it conserved? So at one point we're gonna need those seeds, and we're gonna need to bring them back to production. And I think whoever has seeds right now and saving them, it's a bigger investment like than any Bitcoin, any cash flow that we can have. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, spring is officially here, so it's the perfect time to go out and get some seeds and start planting for summer crops. So as Mpho said, tune in on Sundays at Mpho City Market to engage in some seed swapping. Your community impact project sounds like a phenomenal idea, and I'm excited to hear more about it and see how it progresses. But thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to all of you for joining us in this episode. Tune in next week for our next segment on community engagement and the impact of volunteering on professional skill development. Thank you.
Nice job.